Hey guys, it's Comics G-Man here today, and we're going to get right back into Action Comics. And I hate saying it like that because it sounds like it's a good thing, but it's not, okay? Action Comics sucks, and you're going to hear why. So we're going to go right back into Action Comics number 1069, and I don't have much to say on these issues. I gave Action Comics 1069 a 5 out of 10. Mediocre. Reluctant to give this a better score than a 2 that I've given previous issues, but this was less frustrating and annoying to read through. Maybe it's the art, it's too simple and too cartoony, but I like the simplicity. The colors pop out real nice, and the simple line work makes reading the rather horrible story more bearable. But this whole Phantom Zone breakout feels completely unoriginal, rushed, and with so many heroes in this comic showing up, it falls flat. Dr. Light shows up, which is a pretty cool idea, but it's only like 1 or 2 pages. Superman getting almost killed by a gang of Phantom Zoners in the heart of the zone, only to be saved by Mon on time, was pretty nice, but Mark Waid, is not living up to his reputation in this Superman run. I've seen better from him, and I've heard better from him. This is garbage. I mean, like, this is like a 5-year-old could do better than this. Although that's, I know. But, I mean, you guys remember how depressed and deflated I was when I was talking about Wonder Woman and this? Well, don't worry, I'm not in that kind of mood today. I'm still energetic, and I can still energetically talk about Action Comics. But you know, I'm going to go back to, remember RKS, guys? Remember him? I love this guy, whoever he is, this random dude on the internet, and who always has a pretty good point when he talks about his Superman. He wrote here about this issue, can we have a massive kill-off of characters soon? Like, kill the entire super family with the only one who survives is Connor? He doesn't even want John to survive, you know, because they made him gay, I guess. Fuck John. I agree with him. John sucks now. Connor is at least somewhat interesting, but goddamn, give him a new haircut. His hairstyle looks terrible. He looks like a fugazi. He looks weird, man. Boom. There is your number 1100 issue ending. Kill them all and focus back on Superman. Put all the supporting characters back where they belong in supporting roles. Example, Lois, Jimmy, Perry White. Make Action Comics a Superman book again. No one cares about these characters. The only reason why I, RKS, buys these every month or week now is to keep his run going. It isn't because of the writing or the art, and that's true, and isn't that a shame? And I know not every comic ever made was the best thing ever. I know there were times where the comics weren't that great, but dude, these are garbage. These Action Comics are garbage. Oh my god. And same thing with number 1080. I just gave it a 2. I just said, and now it's back to total garbage. The only purpose this issue served was having Zadu return from the pit Aether threw him into. Otherwise, it was a compilation of meaningless hunting and capturing of generic, uninteresting, escaped zonies. What do they even call them? I don't even know. This is really creatively bankrupt, to say the least. Action Comics 1081. 2.5 out of 10. You suck. You suck, Mark. Is it finally over, this arc? So rushed and lackluster all around. Oh wow, Zadu was really Martian Manhunter fooling the Zoners in the end. What is this, Scooby-Doo? Ah. So then, alright. Mark Waid gets off of this run, right? At number 1080. For now. And John Ridley comes in, and this artist, Inaki Miranda, comes in, alright? And it's good. It's good. I like this, actually. And RKS didn't like it, and he had his reasons, but I actually like this one, to be honest with you. It was probably from the low standards of Mark Waid, so Mark Waid made me kind of like desensitized to like something that probably would really not be considered okay. But after his garbage, after his trash, this was pretty good. I gave number 1082 a 9 out of 10. Wow, an action comic that was actually pretty solid. Not perfect, but after those last 10 or so issues, this deserves a 9 just for changing the direction. What I really appreciate about this issue was its focus on Clark Kent this time around. We've had a lot of Superman the last few arcs, so it's refreshing to see Clark going around doing some old-fashioned journalism. The beautiful, inky, and heavy art of Inaki Miranda doesn't hurt this issue either. Very nice, I like it. So this ish goes back, and it's not anime. It's not totally anime, okay? It's like a mix. It's very inky. I like it, okay? It's not like those Superman comics I was talking about. Not the Joshua Williams Superman comics, not the Jamal Campbell art, which is fantastic. The guy after that, I don't even remember the artist after that, sucked. Totally anime-like, sucked. So this ish goes back and refers to an issue all the way back to the late 700s. Issue 700 something. So, God, when was that? If this is issue number 1082, oh man, what would number 700 be, man? Would that be like the... I don't even know. Superman made major disaster turn good. But here he's caught trying to rob a bank and accidentally murders someone in the process. As soon as Superman shows up, though, Paul, or Major Disasters, his name is Paul, surrenders no fight. He doesn't fight Superman. He gives in right away. So what's going on here? If he's robbing a bank, why would he just do that? Well, you find out, and it's actually pretty cool. As Clark Kent, he goes to other villains who turned good, like Mighty Bruce, or supposedly, and Aubrey Sparks, Scorch. Her name is Scorch as a villain. They turned good. Both have similar explanations that most metas, their explanation to why did Major Disaster, who Superman turned around and made him try to live a good life again, why did Major Disaster turn evil again? Why did he do something like this? Well, Scorch, she says, just her theory, that that most metas, most superhumans, still have to live regular lives, and some just can't stay on the straight and narrow, facing normal problems your average Joe faces, with the addition and extra temptation of having superpowers in the first place. Clark wants this answer to be beyond it's society's fault kind of answer to Paul falling back to crime. But finding no other conclusive answers to this betrayal of his trust as Superman is making Clark very frustrated. He's pissed off that somebody would betray Superman, that he put in this work and effort to turn them around, and they just throw it away. The dialogue is meaty and feels like a good old-fashioned talky comic, which I like when done right, like this. It ends with Clark getting attacked and somehow actually getting cut and knocked out by a mysterious figure. Whoever did this has to know that Clark is Superman and used a weapon capable of knocking out Superman. Now look, I'm going to read what RKS said about this issue. Now, he gave it a 1.5 when I gave it a 9. And his review was in January. I did this pretty recently in August. But I still want to share what he said about it because I still agree with him. He said the soul-saving grace of Action Comics number 1028 is that it exists outside the current... 1082, I'm sorry. That it exists outside the current all-in disaster, sparing readers from that incoherent mess of a storyline. Unfortunately, any relief is short-lived, as this issue replaces one set of problems with another, offering up a misguided attempt to modernize Superman's world in ways that completely alienate longtime fans. The central issue here is the portrayal of Lois Lane, who in this story is framed as the all-knowing sage tasked with helping Superman recover from, brace yourself, losing hope. Yes, Superman, the man of tomorrow, the symbol of resilience and optimism, apparently needs to be lectured back into shape by Lois, who draws on her vast experience as an award-winning journalist to play therapist to the greatest hero on Earth. This dynamic is not only absurd, but it completely undermines Superman as a character. If this is the writing that had greeted me when I first started reading Superman, I would have stopped right then and there. Lois has always been a key part of the Superman mythos, but her role is simple and effective. She gets into trouble, cries for help, and Superman saves the day. How hard is it to understand and stick to this formula? It's classic, it works, and it gives readers what they want. A heroic Superman. Instead, this issue flips the dynamic, turning Lois into the alpha figure and Superman into a lost puppy, as if the writers are deliberately trying to invert the roles to push some kind of modern messaging. The result is a story that feels alien to everything Superman fans have come to love about these characters. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room. This kind of storytelling is a major reason why sales are in the toilet. The people in charge seem to have no idea who their audience is, or why Superman has endured for decades. Readers don't come to Superman for forced ideological posturing or message over myth. They come for stories of hope, heroism, and inspiration. When you discard those core principles for the sake of fixing what isn't broken, you alienate the very audience that made these characters iconic in the first place. In conclusion, Action Comics number 1082 is a case study in how not to write Superman. It takes everything that made the character and his world timeless and replaces it with a heavy-handed attempt to reshape the dynamic into something unrecognizable. It's frustrating, disappointing, and another sad example of why the Superman franchise is struggling to connect with readers today. So yeah, like, I agree with him. I think he's brilliant. I think RKS is a brilliant Superman comic book reader. But I like the issue. I didn't think Lois was as bad as he was saying in this issue particularly. I think he would be correct if we were talking about the Superman comics when she became Superwoman. Yes, absolutely. But in this, I mean, she was just kind of supporting Superman a little bit, supporting Clark. Just because I wouldn't say he was acting like a lost puppy in this issue. He was just so disappointed that these villains like Paul were turning back to a life of crime. And he was questioning what he did wrong, what he could do better. And he was questioning himself as somebody who could help people in this way, I mean. And she was supporting him. She was actually telling him he's right and he's doing the right thing. I thought Lois was actually acting pretty good in this. I didn't really see that in that. So I will respectfully disagree this time with RKS. But nonetheless, the man knows what he's saying and the man knows what he wants. I love that about him. So I wrote here for number 1083. I said, I enjoyed this ish as much as 1082. I like the dialogue and feel like the panels flow real nice. It's not a complicated story, but it's good, and I like the side characters like Scorch. And Mannheim being the culprit behind all of this buying off Paul and others to steal their telomeres, which are used to make other people stay young and live longer. The only catch is those who lose these telomeres lose their lifetime and feel their time shortened. And the side effects of this is hopelessness and depression and emptiness. And that's why these characters, you see in these comics that Paul and these other characters are acting funny. Well, because they made a deal with this businessman named Mannheim that for money, I'll sell you something called telomeres. It's like not DNA, but another form of it, and it has to do with your youth. So when they take your telomere, it reduces your lifespan, and to those who eat and take the telomere, they give it to them. It could make them immortal, I guess. That's what I'm guessing. And we find out that it's some kind of interdimensional asshole aliens that have been buying telomeres from Mannheim. And that was dumb, but you'll see what I say in the next issue. So, number 1084, I say here, I would give this a higher score, but the Forevers was a joke. These are the Forevers are the guys who are buying the telomeres. They're these weird alien characters. They're so stupid. The Forevers was a joke. Like, the Ish could have gone without them, and just have Mannheim selling telomeres to random rich people seeking immortality, because the whole Forevers fight and panels were just god awful and silly. Like, it should have just been that this guy was selling these things to make people youthful and immortal to just rich people, like elites in like Hollywood or whatever, you know what I mean? But instead it goes to these aliens that like live in another universe, and that's why they live for so long, and it was dumb, very dumb. And Superman fights them off and everything, and really dumb. I don't want to see these guys ever again. And I gave this an 8.5, by the way. But I'm keeping a decently high score because otherwise the rest of the story was really good for me. We find out that Paul was innocent and didn't kill Boken. It was his daughter Penny who killed the man. Paul took the hit for her to make up for all the bad shit he did as her father. I liked how this even refers back to Harley Quinn, the 2018 run, number 54, which was written by Sam Humphries. I enjoyed the dialogue and the little twist, nothing groundbreaking or epic, but a damn fine read for me. Superman is conflicted about this, but he leaves Paul in jail and lets things flow. He talks to Lois about it, and they have a nice tit-for-tat. I like how Lois in these issues boosts her man up and tries to keep him grounded instead of trying to tear him down, like in those horrible bonus stories by Rainbow Rowell during those Gail Simone runs. You guys remember me talking about that at all? Well, yeah, I thought Lois was boosting up Superman in this. She wasn't being a bitch at all. She was being a good wife and everything, treating him good. I don't see the issue here. Number 1085. Guess what, guys? Guess what? It's not even worth talking about. I just said it was terrible. A big fat nothing burger. It was a global warming message. Boring. And besides that, the writing is practically non-existent. And same thing with number 1086, another one. I gave them a 1. I gave number 85 and 86 a 1 out of 10. These were written by G. Willow Wilson and drawn by Gavin Goldry. Garbage! You could throw those right out. So these were two stories that were completely contained and had nothing to do with anything or anything. Awful. Awful. Now, now look, I guess they reboot. They're trying this again with Mark Waid. Again, this guy, Mark Waid, is awful now. I don't know what happened to him. He's so bad now. I know everybody likes him on the World's Finest stuff. Batman and Superman, World's Finest. I wasn't that crazy about it. Kind of bored me a little bit, but it wasn't horrible. I liked the first, 10 issues or so. But this, now they bring back Mark Waid at number 1087. And it's like where Superman is Superboy, I guess. Oh, no, it's continuing. That's not until the next issue, I'm sorry. Number 1087, it just continues off of Mark Waid's previous Zadu story that sucked, and the Phantom Zone story. And I gave it a 3.5. I said, it was okay. Kind of was more excited to finish it just to be done. Art is lame. Feels like a corporate safe direction. I'm not into Waid's style at all, and after his horrible Phantom Zoners run and Zadu, I'm not particularly excited about this. Oh, no. This is when they started it over. Guys, I'm sorry. I just got so many things on my mind today. But this is the reboot. I was correct at first. So Mark Waid is writing this, and the art is now by Skylar Patridge, however you say that. Skylar from Breaking Bad. Skylar. I mean, the only nice part was when Pa Kent helped Superboy focus on the fight. But otherwise, the plot is pretty stupid And again, the art sucks. Feels like a baby Disney cartoon. And now let's go on to number 1088. I gave it a 1 out of 10. I said if you're looking for something fresh, different, or interesting, don't look here. This is a coming-of-age story done a million times over. Unless you have absolutely no background in reading literature or comics, then maybe you will enjoy this. Otherwise, it's a walking cliche as predictable as the cycle of the day. And why the hell didn't he use his freeze breath on the fire in the school? Instead, he took a water tower that even says a farm town like this needs this water tower. Yet he takes it and wastes it all on the school that was on fire. When all the kids escaped, all he had to do was ice breath but anything else but that. See, I'm not even going to tell you the story. You want to know the story of this? You read it, because I thought the story was predictable. I thought it sucked. I don't even feel like going over it too much here. I was just telling you, it's so dumb that even that detail there of him. So there was this scene where they're in the science lab, and the lab, they have an accident, and it starts a fire, and the sprinkler system doesn't go on, and we find out later that the sprinkler system doesn't go on because the principal had some kind of like scheme or something to make more money for himself, and he didn't put money towards the sprinkler system. Whatever. Boring. But so the sprinkler system doesn't go on, the fire spreads, everybody's freaking out, they all run out of the school, and Superboy flies out of the school, and he goes to the town's only water tower, and he tears it up, and he dumps the water on the school. Like, dude, all you had to do when nobody was looking and they all ran away from the fire was be like, ice breath, and blow away all the fire, and that would be it. Ridiculous. And Mark Waid, what are you doing, man? It's the details that makes a story sometimes. And your details are ruining this. Number 1089. I gave this also a 1 out of 10. I just have no patience at this point for Waid's writing. His last arc really gave me a bad impression, and this isn't doing any better here. The art is nothing to write home about and feels mostly devoid of any soul. I don't even care about anyone in here, let alone Clark himself. He comes off as generic and has nothing interesting going for him except the overly done, struggling teenager persona we've seen countless times at this point in comics, but not even done well here. We've seen it done better elsewhere. And Captain Comet? Dial the cornball writing by 1,000, please. Captain Comet shows up in this? What a dumb character to put into the development of Superman's youth. Oh, and also in this ish, a horde of locusts show up, and Clark uses, guess what? He uses his freeze breath against the locusts here in one panel. So like I said in previous issue, why didn't he just use his freeze breath on the fire? Emphasis on the emptiness of soul. Every character just says the most uninteresting shit, and it comes off like a corporate pamphlet about how we're all one big happy family here in this corporation, right? As we suck you dry of your soul. Congrats if you enjoyed this issue. But you would have to deprive me of any good comics for a millennia to ever get me to say any of this was worth my time. And now, that was the end of that. And cool enough, RKS responded to this when I wrote this. He said to me, they have no idea what to do with this series. So they plugged in Waid's story in to tread water until they are done. The other story in the main book, Superboy's story isn't bad, but it's nothing new either. Yeah, they don't know what to do. And Mark Waid, man, go away. This guy sucks for DC. Maybe he's good on other stuff, but he's not doing any justice for Superman here. I'm sorry. He's not adding anything good about Superman that I'd be like, that's worth keeping in the overall mythos of Superman. So that is my rant today about Action Comics. Thank you for listening, and have a nice day.